I'm here today with Gil, who's the co-founder of Stan Lee's POW Entertainment, and Bob, who's the CMO of POW Entertainment as well. So thanks so much for joining us. And why do you think Stan Lee's comics and his stories have resonated throughout the years?
Because he told us to do that.
Well, I think Stan's stories really were not about superheroes. They were about human beings. Stan made you care as much about Peter Parker as you do Spider-Man. Stan made Tony Stark more interesting outside of the suit than in the suit. Stan made my mom care about these characters, and therefore they really were accessible to everybody. It wasn't just about superheroes. They were about people who happened to have superpowers.
Well, Stan said, if something I write is good for me and I like it, then I'm sure a lot of other people have similar taste as I do, and they'll like it, because I'm an everyday guy.
And they make great fodder for TV shows and movies. And why do you think that it translates so much from the page to the TV screen?
Yeah, I think somebody should make a movie out of these characters. No, I think obviously they've become incredible franchises. I was at Marvel way back in the day when nobody knew who Iron Man was, and it really has captured the imagination. Not because of anything other than the fact that they're just great stories. They are great basis for storytelling, and that's what Stan was a storyteller.
Stan wrote, and future generations will be aware that his stories are today's modern-day fairy tales.
And so how do you continue his legacy? What can we expect next from POW Entertainment?
Well, we have a lot of great projects on the horizon. What we try to do is try to, again, create projects that Stan would have been proud of. We have a lot of them that Stan worked on. I'll let Gil talk a little bit about some of them, but we have a great TV show that we are in development on with CBS television called Supermom. We have another project with Pure Imagination that takes a look at Stan Lee as a young man, as a young boy, and sort of understanding where that mind was developed as a kid to become the Stan Lee that he later on became. I think Gil can actually talk about it.
Stan looked at the world and life through childlike eyes, and his imagination was unbounding and saw no limits. So every day he'd come in and say, I've got a great new idea. And, most of the time he was right. His instincts were right. So a few of the new projects we're working on is, one is called Restless, and to continue his desire for diversity. It has to do with the Native American Indian and ties back to their roots as well. And we now have introduced our new Audible book, A Trick of Light, which made the New York Times bestseller list. And we're working on a number of other projects that are both animated, live action. We are also introduced the new story about Stan Lee Superhero Kindergarten, and Arnold Schwarzenegger is going to be playing a part in that, a role in that. And he worked closely with Stan in helping to develop it.
So I heard you guys have plans for a lot of expansion into Asia. Why the Asian market?
Well, I think it's just such a major market. I mean, Asia has really, with China taking the lead, but I think the entire Asian market, they're huge fans of Stan's content. And it's just a place where the stories work, and they're huge population base that really can't get enough of superhero stories.
And now that it's a global market, and through the various means of distribution, you can reach such a wide audience, and you now have fans in many of these countries and continents who have grown up with Stan's stories, and you got 4 or 5 generations of fans that are following it. So the Asian content, the Indian continent are all places that we're developing projects and stories and capitalizing on regional stories as well.
And I know there's been some recent news that one of the chairwomen for the parent company was arrested recently. Will that affect POW Entertainment in the future?
I think the story is really developing, so there's really too early to say.
Right now, the story is in flux, So we in POW are the guardians of Stan's legacy and his IP, and that's what we're doing.
And do you have any words for the future Stan Lees of the world? Like, how can they also create a legacy that will last beyond them?
I think Stan just said, "Create what you love," and hopefully other people will love it as well. So just write and just create.
That was his motto. Just if you're passionate about something, then just go do it.
Well, thanks so much for joining us here today.